Welcome to the Goof and Goober Show. You decide who's the goof and who's the goober. Join Matthew and Regan as they talk all things from their own personal life questions to reviews on movies and TV shows. Now, your hosts, Regan and Matthew.
What's going on, guys? This is the Goof and Goober Show. My name is Matthew Leathers. I will be the host for today. I have Regan with me here, as usual. My pal, my buddy old pal, my right-hand man, if they will say. Regan, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Matt. It is a fun fact. If you're listening, it's my birthday week. It's the 20th
We were about to get
today.
into that. How dare you?
Oh,
We're gonna
I'm sorry.
Get into
I was
that.
just gonna say I got a new sign here to
Oh,
represent my birthday.
Regan is so narcissistic that he's got to talk about his birthday before we even have the birthday.
I just need to show it off. My wife got me a new gold chain.
Ooh.
Am I right, boys? That has our wedding date on it in Roman numerals.
So
And she
cringe.
got me this sweet new Nike cap that I love and wear all the time.
Love it.
That's
Love it.
and yeah. Also, if you're not here in the pre-show, guys, get here because we talked so much. We got
Guys,
some
we
good
talked
questions.
so much. Big shout out to Jared
And-
Gilmore from our
back
pre-show.
again. Let's
Freaking
go.
Jared Gilmore coming in. Current
Mhm.
SID for Crown College in Minnesota. Come check him out. He lives in 224 Mercury Drive. I'm kidding. That's not his address. I'm joking. Well, I guess you spoiled the freaking intro, man. Happy birthday. You were turning.
thanks.
How old are you turning? Tell us what was the best thing about your birthday. What did you do? Because you had your
Well-
birthday weekend this weekend.
I did have my birthday weekend this weekend, but my birthday isn't until tomorrow.
Sure.
I think if you wanted it to, I mean, I'm not the host and I'm not here to tell you what to do, but if you wanted to, you're still mute.
Just answer the friggin' questions. I don't need no friggin'
okay.
instruction.
Okay, man. All right. My birthday weekend was really great. I got all my friends. I got my wife invited all my friends and family over. Not a whole lot of my family came, but it was great seeing everyone. I got myself a freaking drill finally. Well, my mother-in-law got me a drill, so I can freaking drill some freaking drywall. I love drilling drywall, though, dude.
We're working in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's working. It's definitely working, guys.
Putting in new cabinets, Grandma. So I was there. I was actually at your house for the birthday party, obviously. I want to know, what was your favorite gift that you got?
Well,
And you got to show it off real quick. Go, quickly. You got to show it off.
well,
Well, let's just
I
say,
was gonna show
what
it
was
in
your
my
favorite
local
gift
finds.
from me?
Your
Your favorite gift
I was
from
gonna
me.
show it. All right. Well, you didn't give me all my gifts.
Yeah,
but-
he's still missing one. I apologize.
Yeah, apparently. And did you show it to me today or what?
No, I didn't.
No. Hang on, I'll be right back.
In the meantime, while he's out, I was digging through some of my my comics in my room, in my closet, and I found some pretty friggin' sweet ones. And I'll show them. So we've got a segment that's like local pickups, and I'll show you what it's not, I didn't get them new, but I reintroduced them. I found them, and I forgot about them from years and years and years ago. So I'll show that to you a little bit later. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, my whole basement is a retro theme right now, and I'm trying to get. I mean, Matthew can, attest for this. Because
Dude, he's got a
it
freaking
is-
sweet basement. It's pretty sweet.
I do love my basement, and I am happy. We do need to do a lot of things, but Matthew got me some sweet things, and this is my favorite one. It's a shoot.
There you go. Move your mic. Yeah. Oh yeah.
This bad boy, love it. It's so retro. It's so cool, and I really am gonna have to keep my son away from this because it's like in the movie Megan that we watched, where you have the old time toys and you feel like an idiot to tell your kids, no, it's not a toy, but when in reality it is a toy. We just don't mess around with it.
Oh yeah.
But where it's probably one of my finds. I mean, it's technically a local find that Matthew got for me. And that was really my only. I mean, you'll see some of the other local finds that I got, but yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's my favorite one. Besides my drills, I really like my drills because now I can actually
do stuff.
I feel like I can build some things now because I would have to borrow drills, and so I got a chop saw, I got my drills. All I need is just go buy the materials, and I'm freaking set. I might need a table saw though. I don't know. Maybe later.
You can live without a table saw for now.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. The plan is in the summer is to build a tree fort with my son in the backyard.
Oh,
so
well, you have some drills to do that now.
I got some freaking drills that me and my boy can use.
Yep. It's talking about his basement, by the way. He has a pretty friggin' sweet basement. It feels like you're in That 70s Show. Okay, you know how they have the basement with the TV down there, with the TV or the couch that wraps around in front of the TV. It's kind of similar to that. He's got an old.
Well, I feel like that's
TV. What are they called? What type of TV is it? Oh my gosh!
Matthew, stop doing that.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking. What type of TV is that? CRT TV. And we were watching freaking Captain America on there, the old 1940s version. We threw a Batman from the 80s or the 90s with
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, it was Michael Keaton. I was thinking it was George Clooney. But and then the kids were watching Hercules later that night.
Yeah.
So
they were getting real crazy.
They were freaking getting crazy down there. So we had to freaking kick it into gear. Your son lost a tooth.
Oh, man.
Your son lost a freaking tooth.
He did. He is toothless in front. He's got no front teeth. So funny story about that. Actually, we went to where did we go? Chili's, and he was like, "Yeah, I want mac and cheese." We're like, "Okay," and I want corn on the cob. I'm like, "Oh, sure. I mean, I'm not gonna deny you good food. I mean, you got some veggies there, but how are you gonna eat that? I'll figure it out." And you're just like on the side of his mouth, and then later he's like, "Yeah, I don't want this." He took like 3 or 4 bites out of it and realizes just how difficult it is to live life without your 2 front teeth.
All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. My 2 front teeth.
My mom would sing that to me all the time for Christmas, and she'd think it's hilarious.
Oh, your mother. Oh,
don't you dare.
I love her. She's awesome. Dare. She's so beautiful.
Don't even dare.
Well, enough lollygagging around here. We've got some stuff we've got to talk about today.
Big tough.
Me, Axel, we went for a freaking boys' night last Friday at 8 o'clock. Imagine, Minnesota, Willow Creek. Ant-Man and the Wasp. We're gonna freaking dive into.
But somebody was a little late to the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Like literally a minute. That was it. Literally a minute. I was. So funny story. So
just running in.
Funny story. So okay. So so my job requires me to go on these calls, and so my brother works with me, and my brother's been killing it. Okay, he's at the company, he's at like 5K. Regan knows the like how it quantifies, but he's at 5K right now. And I was at like 20
for the month.
Yeah, for the month. And I was at like $2,100 for the month. And so I was like, I gotta get some money on the board. I gotta close a deal because that's how I make money. Is I close deals, I get commission, blah 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 blah. And so I was like, Riley, which is my brother's name, can you please run my 6:15 demo, right? Because it's a demonstration. And it got to 6:10. And I was like literally desperate and I was like, I gotta take this phone call. So I took the phone call, and it lasted until 7:30. 7:30, an hour and 15 minutes. An hour and 15 minutes. I got the deal. By the way. So I'm at like 3,000 right now, so a little bit below,
Whoop,
but
whoop.
hey, money's money. Okay. So we get out at 7:30, and I am booking it. I am booking it to the movie theater. Now, just think, this movie theater, by the way, is 50 minutes away if you go the speed limit. For legal reasons, I don't know if I should say how fast I was going, but I was not going the speed limit. Let's just say, and I got there 1 minute before the show started, and I literally, my wife doesn't like when I drive fast, so she called me and she's like, "Don't drive so fast." And so I get there and I park really, really, really quick, and I sprint inside. Now, the dangerous part is that we're in Minnesota, so there's ice on the ground. Well, I almost beat it and hit the ground like 4 or 5 times, and I just sprint into my seat, literally coming in. So, yeah, that was
That's
it.
great.
It was freaking hilarious because Regan literally saw me running up the stairs to our seat, and I was so out of breath because I literally was in a rush the entire time. But yeah, so we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp last Friday, 8 o'clock. We're going to get into talking about it here. We're going to do a little bit of a non-spoiler here before we jump into the meat and potatoes of the show. So before I do that, I'm going to throw up here a little synopsis about the show, and then we're going to throw in our spoiler warning, so that way, if you guys haven't seen it, don't freaking get wrecked. So Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium, it's starring Scott Lang as Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Hope Van Dyne as Evangel Lilly, Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne as Michelle Pfeiffer. Synopsis: Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, explore the quantum realm, where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. Directed by Peyton Reed, written by Jeff Loveless and Jack Kirby. Regan, give us your 5-star rating here, and then a quick little snippet. Non-spoiler, and then we'll throw in a spoiler warning after that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everyone knows we're talking about this guy right here. This is my personal action figure that I use. This is Ant-Man, guys.
What do you use that for?
This is the guy we're talking about. Nothing. Just fan art stuff.
Oh.
Like that.
Okay.
Good times.
Oh.
With the playing. I mean, not like I'm having a good time looking at it. You know, it's hanging up. I got a shelf.
Yeah, you got a shelf for
obviously.
it. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
What was that on its head? It was a little brown there.
No, nothing. You know, it's over there now. Oh gosh, it's all the way over.
Somehow it got over there.
It's way over there now. It slipped out of my hands. So crazy. Anyways, my rating on this, I'm not high on this. I wasn't very impressed. I was going into this expecting a lot because we're going into the next phase, and I don't want to get too hard into it or too in depth, but my rating on this is a 2.8 out of 5.
Okay.
I didn't think it was that good. Or some scenes that just I think it could have been funnier, could have been a little bit more in depth, as well as I mean, if you haven't watched, you kind of not necessarily you need to watch Loki, but if you've watched that, Kang is the main premise of this whole movie, and it's just I was upset, kind of wasn't too happy with that with Kang. So
Okay.
that's kind of my impression and my rating on Ant-Man and the Wasp:
Well,
Quantumania.
yikes. Well, so you give it a 2.8. Well, I was I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Hmm.
I've seen
Okay.
worse. I've seen worse, and I've rated worse. Here's the and we're gonna talk about the spoilers and what I mean by that, but I'm giving it a 3.5. I think that in all, I think the writing was very lazy. I think the writing was extremely lazy. There were certain characters that I was not a huge fan of that definitely did not do a very good role or did a very good, what's the word, impression, if you will. They didn't make me believe that they were actually the character that they should have been, if that makes sense. And then there were some things about, like, for an example, Kang that I didn't really like. Personally, I feel like they made him appear to be the next big bad in this movie. I don't necessarily agree with that, and we'll talk more about that in our spoiler review here in a moment. But yeah, that's my general overview. I do think, like, hey, if you like Marvel, if you like Ant-Man, like, definitely check it out. There are some times in the movie that it's pretty funny, and overall, it's an enjoyable show to at least go watch. If you're looking at it from our perspective, where we have to talk about it on a podcast, I'd probably watch it again. But
Really?
yeah, I would recommend it. But I think it's also a pivotal role moving forward, and it had to have been. And I think that's just kind of how it played out. But we'll talk about it here in a moment. But this is going to be your spoiler warning for the show, the movie. Okay. Do we have a plug there that we can plug there?
No, I still have to make that.
Okay, so we got to make that. No worries. This is your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it, maybe go watch it and then come back and listen to it. Or if you don't care about spoilers, stay on. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes here, but I just want everybody to know this is your spoiler warning. If I spoil anything and you're pissed off about it, that is your fault, not my fault.
It's your fault. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. We're sorry.
We're freaking sorry.
Oh wait. Shoot. I had a question, but I can't remember what it was. My bad.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No worries. So I'm going to take it from a stance here. I'm going to go a little bit into, not necessarily the story itself, because personally, throughout the story, I think the script was really bad. I don't think the script was very good. I don't think they thought well out of, like, hey, what are the repercussions of certain things? So I don't know if I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about more like plot points and characters throughout this episode, because I think that's really what makes sense for this show and this movie moving forward. So I want to talk about Ant-Man, kind of the first impression here, because throughout every Ant-Man series or every Ant-Man movie, we've gotten this like super funny, super like I'm hitting my hands on my desk. Thanks. You can just tell me that, Regan. We're good. I'm a hand talker. That's how I am. Yeah. Which is why, so I am going to get a new mic soon, or mic stand and arm and stuff like that. So it's off my desk. Yeah. But we're going to talk about Ant-Man. Previously with Ant-Man, I wanted to, before we jump into like the story of this, what's your rating of Ant-Man 1 and 2 before we do that?
So, fun fact, actually, before the show or the movie, I went and watched both of them. So, Ant-Man 1, I think, was wonderful. I think that was a really good start to just showing who Ant-Man was, how it began, and yeah. So, I mean, I don't think it was perfect in the sense that it was. I mean, I can't think of any flaws right off the bat. I mean, it just wasn't like super good for me, you know.
You talking about the first one?
I mean, the first one, Ant-Man 1, and it just, I guess, you know, you think of Ant-Man, you don't think of him as like a great Avenger. He's just a guy that can shrink and grow. Really, is his superpower. So you don't get too excited about that, but I think it's more of, I'd say a 4.2, 4.3 around there. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think, was even just as good. It was one of those movies that the sequel was, I don't think it was better than Ant-Man 1, but I think it was pretty good. So I'd say like a 4 around for that. So
Okay. Yeah, I would say out of the first two, just my opinion is I'm going to give Ant-Man 1 a 4.5, by the way. And I'm going to give Ant-Man 2 in the Wasp. I'm going to give that a 3. The reason being, I think Ant-Man 1, well, there's a clear reason why number 2 for me, in my opinion, is I used to work for this family, and we used to watch it like on repeat. So I just got really annoyed with it. It's still an okay movie. I'd still watch it, but I know pretty much every line and where it goes and the direction. So that's why it's probably lower for me. But Ant-Man 1, what I think it does really, really well is that it takes a world threat, if that makes sense. It takes it takes a very small thing and makes you feel like it's a big thing. So I think that's why Ant-Man 1 really resonated or like hit me with at the end there. So yeah, I'd give that a 4.5 and give the other one like a 3.5, probably. So yeah, I know I changed it up a little bit.
All right.
But yeah.
All right.
So going through here, so we're talking about those 1 and 2 here. Now let's talk about number 3. So Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. First and foremost, like, if your expectation of Quantumania is got to be different, in my opinion, going into it versus the other two, right? Because I know, as you mentioned, right, like Ant-Man 2 and Ant-Man itself, you don't really think of him as like being a top tier Avenger. But in reality, and we see that this in 3, is that he and what he does introduces us to the quantum realm, which dives us deeper into the world of, the Marvel cinematic universe, right? And I think without Ant-Man, without all of that, you can't have the quantum realm, or you don't have anybody that introduces it. So I do think it plays a pivotal role.
Right.
But the thing is with this movie is that it gives such a different vibe than the other movies. Like, the other movies were a lot more fun, a lot more like, I don't even know what the world. It's like more playful, if that's the right word for it. It's more playful. Yeah. It's a lot more like, hey, this isn't meant to be like a serious movie. And so what I think that this movie does that it didn't do a very good job at is it tried to be a serious movie, but it's really tough to be a serious movie with Paul Rudd as the lead, as the lead actor of the entire movie. Now, at times it was good, but at times it was like really awkward. And so that kind of gets me into my first thing here. At the beginning and the end of the movie is they go into like this weird like dialogue where they're like, it's just Paul Rudd. He's talking. Come to find out that, he's reading his book to an elementary school class or something like that. That didn't hit me at all. Like, I didn't like that whatsoever. I really didn't like it.
Wait, do you think that was like a comedy part, or
I didn't know? It was very awkward, man. It was like it didn't solidify as comedy. It didn't solidify itself as like a serious thing. I didn't know. So I was going to ask you what your thoughts were on that, and do you think it was meant to do that, or do you think they just the feeling as the audience wasn't taken as it was supposed to, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think what they were trying to show is that Paul Rudd, or Ant-Man, whatever his name is, what's his actual? I don't even know what his character,
Scott Lang.
Actual guy's name. Scott Lang. Oh gosh, I think they're trying to show that he's saved the world and he's this is what you do when you're basically done saving the world and you've hit your peak and you're declining, and this is what you do in your decline is that you write a book about what you did. Um, kind of, I have a what's his Tim Tebow book after, and so like it's kind of that thing. It's like Tim Tebow was on his decline, so he wrote a book, and I think that's what they're trying to show. Um, but yeah, it didn't really. I think people love him for because he's just an Avenger, and it just didn't really vibe with me though. I think as well. I think they were trying to be funny, but it wasn't really that funny to me, especially in some of the other scenes. Is when they were trying to. I don't know. A lot of people, I think, in the theater liked it more than I did. I mean, there was only a few people that laughed at it at some of the because they refer back to that specific part all the time. But I don't know. It wasn't that too big of a deal to me. I think to me it was just showing that he was on a decline and he's now just kind of coasting as Ant-Man, and there's nothing really else for him to do.
Yeah,
And
I think I think when we go into this movie though, like when we step into the movie theater and we hear about Kang being the next Thanos level threat, right? The next big bad. Like I feel like our mood needs to change, if that makes sense. Like our perspective on Ant-Man needs to change if something of that level is going to be affecting this movie. And so I think at the beginning it was like, for me personally, is I feel like they were trying to play into that serious role a little bit, and like I don't think the book really helped in making it like a serious thing and getting people locked into like if that makes sense, because it's like most of the Ant-Man movies, it's kind of starts as like a funny thing. Like there's a lot more laughter, there's a lot more like comedy in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you think that they should have been thinking more broad because instead of just the movie, because with that I think what they're in that then they were just thinking specifically more about just the movie to show that here's Scott Lang and he's just he's coasting, but then they should have been thinking more broad. Is that what you?
Yeah, because I just think that
new phase.
Like, who cares that he wrote a book? Who cares? Nobody cares that he wrote a book. Like, what about him writing a book pushes the plot point forward? Really, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, that does nothing. So for me, I'm just, when I come into the movie theater, right, and I was a minute late, right, and I saw the whole scene with Michelle Pfeiffer and Kang, right, like, that was a really cool scene. But then you jump into this, like, really awkward stage where Ant-Man is in his life. Like, that, it just didn't resonate with me personally. Because it's like, what's Captain America, or what's Thor doing? What are all these people doing? And I think that's where Phase 4 has been really it's like the small dog, the runt of the MCU, in my opinion. Like, what has Thor been doing? He went off world. He went and fought Gore, right? He didn't really do much. Doctor Strange, what the heck did he do, really? Like, he fought Scarlet Witch. Like, all of our characters are just, like, they're just living life, and then all of a sudden something happens to them, right? But in the end, nothing really is affecting the world. Black Panther, you go and you're fighting Namor. And then at the end, what happens? You go back to normal civilization. What does that actually do, right? I understand you're building an alliance in that one, right? Cool. You're bringing small little pieces, but it's like, I want to see something, like we got off the high of freaking Endgame, right? And we saw like, hey, they fixed the entire universe, but now we're just like, we're catching people in the middle of their life and then random stuff happens. Like, I just want more. I don't know. It just feels like it's lazy, in my opinion. I don't know.
Are you wanting more of an Avenger then? Or like a more than, because let me put this in other words. Are you looking for another Avenger? So do you think that they should have put in Doctor Strange and had a little side character in there, a supporting character, whatever you want to call it, kind of like in Guardians of the Galaxy, or no, Thor: Love and Thunder, where they had Guardians of the Galaxy there, or I mean,
I think
all these new movies
your...
that are coming out, they're showing these supporting actors. I mean, even you can look at Black Panther, that the supporting actor was Ironheart, and there's people that they're bringing in to, set up this whole new phase. But like in Iron Man, I mean, in Ant-Man, we really have no supporting actors that from a different movie. This is all straight from just the pure Ant-Man cast. There's nobody that is outside of them.
I think the biggest thing for me is that this movie, even though it shimmers some future stuff, and we'll talk about this as we go. But really, the idea here, and the reason why I bring up the beginning and the end, is like there's this big bad, okay, and we'll talk about what happens at the end. But life goes back to normal after these big bads. What I'm saying is that all of the Marvel movies that have came out since Endgame, there's been this big thing that could cause detrimental things to the universe moving forward, but then all of a sudden at the end of the movie, now it's back to normal. Like, Scott Lang started off as Scott Lang, right? He went to the quantum realm, he did what he had to do, now he's back to normal, right? And that's where the beginning and the end come into play, and I just feel like this movie was really weak about that. Like, we're talking about King the Conqueror. We're talking about a guy that he has killed trillions and trillions of people. He has destroyed universes. And we're talking about Ant-Man starting off as Ant-Man, talking about his stupid book, and then at the end, talking about his stupid book. That's what I'm saying.
I agree. And I want to get on the point of Kang too.
We're going to talk about
him.
I just think the way they're starting it, for me personally, the reason why I'm upset is because I feel like this has been a reoccurring theme in the Marvel movies lately. Because Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, she's destroying a bunch of stuff, right? She has detrimental things to the entire universe. He goes, fixes it, now he's back to normal. Like, what? Namor in Black Panther. There's a whole war between two kingdoms, and then all of a sudden now they're best friends, back to normal, right? I want to see some complications, and we'll talk about that. We're going to jump into it now, but it really, when the movie starts off like that, it did not really help me to enjoy or feel like there's going to be an ending that, let's just say, I didn't think anybody was going to die in this movie. That was going to, like, previously, when they were showing the trailers, I thought somebody like Scott Lang, Cassie, Hope Van Dyne, somebody was going to die. Someone was going to die.
I don't know if you could say that, because like there's a lot of foreshadowing you could have used in him reading the book, with him dedicating it to his daughter. And so you could have gone with his daughter's going to die. You could have gone with he's going to die, so that she can always look back at it. It's just like the same thing in The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, when Emma Stone, when MJ, not MJ, Gwen died in Spider-Man 2. Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. And did it.
Bad boy. How dare you.
And so, I mean, Gwen Stacy gives the speech, and right away you could conclude, oh, she's going to die. But I think you're right in that it didn't do anything to the viewers, because there was
foreshadow in her speech.
No one did die.
There was foreshadow in her speech that she was going to die. Go back and watch it. I watched it just a
in
couple days ago.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yep. There's foreshadow that she was going to die.
Yeah, there's foreshadowing, but you could have saying the same thing with Scott Lang with his
There's
ending of the dedication to the book.
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
Gosh,
That's where we disagree, in my opinion.
But I'm
okay.
agreeing that there was no point in it because it furthered no plot point
exactly
in this movie. But they could bring it back.
They could
as a plot.
I really hope they do, because I feel like this movie, I mean, it was good, right? It was entertaining for me. Like, it was entertaining to watch, but it doesn't help moving forward, in my opinion. But
100%.
Let's get into it even more here. So at the beginning of the movie, like I said, we talk about how we see Hope Van Dyne. She's killing off these like spider lizard thingies. And all of a sudden she sees Kang, and Kang's like reaching for help, like asking for help. And then we cut to the book where he's reading the book, and he goes to this weird little thing where he reads the book, and then boom, we show up at a library where he's reading it to kids. What I will say, because moving forward in this episode, is my personal opinion is that the person who wrote Cassie Lang, I think, did a horrible job. Horrible job. And I will even say, and it's not necessarily that, I don't know, let me see who the actress was, because she's a fairly new person. Katherine Newton plays Cassie Lang. Oh my gosh, why didn't we freaking throw this out here? Also starring Kang the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors, Lord Krylar, Bill Murray, and then Katie O'Brien as Jentora, and then William Jackson Harper as Quaz. Sorry about that. We didn't mean to miss out on some of those big ones. I apologize. That's on me. She did not sell me as Cassie Lang, man. She did not at all. I had a very hard time watching her throughout this. And the hard part is I don't know if it's her acting or was the script. So I wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on her, because she obviously, like, they're setting up Young Avengers, right? They're setting up
100%.
They're setting that up, and she's going to be a big role moving forward. What was your thoughts on her?
This is what I mean. The same thing with Avatar: The Last Airbender, or not that last Avatar. What is it? Water.
The Way of the Water.
Something, whatever. The Way of the Water. I don't know, dude. It's so frustrating to see young actors just, suck it up. Suck. And it's just like, you can do better. These guys, like we're saying, they're going to be the future. So you really need them, not just, they're supporting actors, but they're going to be big time. And so, you got Ironheart, and as well as this new Cassie girl that's going to be coming in as the new kind of Wasp lead woman. And they're not doing a good job of picking out their actors. And it's kind of frustrating to see that. And her acting was subpar. It wasn't, it was.
Do you think it was the writing or the directing, or was it just her as an actress?
I think you can blame it on you can't always, the writing is just, I think you can only look at the plots, and for writing, it's just the plots. But when you get down to the scenes of the actor, it just wasn't that good, and, she's being pretty much graded against, pretty good big stars with Evangeline Lilly and then Paul Rudd, and, they got an all-star cast, but still, you could find somebody way better than this. And I get that you're also trying to find an actor that looks similar to the Cassie when she was younger, but still, it just wasn't the best. And they could have, and this is what we have to look forward to. It's just like, I'm not on board right now. Especially with Kang, but with the new Avengers that are supposed to be coming here, I'm not on board with them. The acting, the suits that I've seen, just like, this isn't looking good for MCU. They need to change something up, because the only thing that's keeping them going right now is the old Avengers with, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, and then you got Thor, and well, we don't know necessarily what's going to come with Secret Wars because it seems like they're going to bring back everybody, Iron Man, Captain Cap, but we don't really know
Did
that.
you just call him Cap?
Of course,
Yeah, that's
Cap.
what we say when we're best friends.
We're best friends.
Best buds.
That's just a line from the movie.
Yeah, I think it was tough, and here's what we'll jump into it because, like we said, she plays a pivotal role in this movie. She creates this device that basically sends a signal. Oh, let me pause for a second. They're really trying to make her exactly like Paul Rudd in Scott Lang. So at the beginning of the movie, we find out that she's in jail. And this is like her second or third time or something like that in jail. She's kind of a brat, if you will. Does a lot of different things. She creates her own suit. She really does her own
She
thing.
didn't create it. She was given a new
she
suit.
created it. She says it in the movie that she created it. Yep, it says it in the movie that her and Hank Pym created the suit for her. I'm serious. Go look it up.
Hank made it for her.
Did Cassie Lang make her
now
suit?
You put who made Cassie Maid's suit? That would have been a better question.
Who made Cassie
That is
Lang's
a leading
suit?
question.
Go ahead. It just says on here, Cassie Lang created her own suit. It literally says it right here.
Let me see.
It literally says it right
Who
here.
made Cassie Ant-Man 3 best move? Fans, a new ad has revealed more of Cassie Lang's superhero suit for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
You're freaking get at me.
I see it nowhere. I
is
put
on
in
there.
The same question that you do.
You have to click on the link there. But anyway, so she creates her own suit and customizes her own suit. She does her own thing. She goes to jail a couple times. And then she creates this device. Apparently she's some smart little scientist, I guess. She's been really hanging out with the Van Dymes, hanging out with Hank. And so she created this little thing that connects to the quantum realm, and it sends signals to the quantum realm. And so she plays a huge role in getting them there. A malfunction happens. I personally think, and this is my thought I was going to ask you about it, is I don't think that it was a malfunction. I think Kang sensed the signal and broke the machine and sent them to the quantum realm. That was my thought, personally. What's your thoughts? Yeah or nay? Disagree or agree?
That Kang is the reason why they went to the quantum realm?
Yeah, they sent signals down and Kang broke because he's got the power to break it and then send him to the quantum realm.
I think so. I mean, he's waiting for signals and he's waiting to get out. So any sign for him to get out, he would take it, or at least have some type of technology that would capture that and be able to bring anybody back or try to get out outside of what he was already using, which was the time. I don't know what was it called again. I can't remember.
I don't remember what the machine was called. But basically, so they get sucked in they turn on the machine, and they start sending signals to the quantum realm. Michelle Pfeiffer's character, what was her name again? I gotta remember her character's name. Janet Van Dyne, because she's only been in one movie. Janet Van Dyne. She basically has these hesitations. She's like, whoa, guys, you got to turn this off. You can't, you got to turn it off now. Yeah. You got to freaking turn it off now. And what we find out is that she hasn't actually told Hank, she hasn't told Hope or Scott or anybody about the quantum realm. Anything about anything really down there. Like, she said nothing. And so basically for the next 10, 15 minutes, we cut back and forth between them getting sucked in and then them splitting up into two groups. The Van Dymes, Hope, Hank, and Janet, and then Cassie and Scott get sucked together and they get split apart. And now they're on a goose chase trying to find each other to make sure that everyone's okay. What I hate about this entire scene, by the way, and this is this is kind of a big irk, is she has been out of the quantum realm for some time. She hasn't said a single thing about anything about the quantum realm. And we're talking about like people in, not to boost the ego of Ant-Man, but he's an Avenger, right? Like he's dealt with Thanos level threats. And I just felt that it was very, very dumb that they didn't at least say something about it. Because now they're running into this hornet's nest, not knowing it's a hornet's nest, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm curious, and during this time, again, it was like 20 minutes of them literally walking and not saying a thing. She didn't say anything. They're like, hey, what do you know about this place? What's up with this place? What's going on? And she says nothing for the entire time. Do you think that she was just more scared of what, like Kang, or what was she afraid of telling them? Like, I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I really didn't see anything wrong with her telling them. I mean, especially when they explicitly say they asked her about the quantum realm. And they're like, can you tell me anything? And she just like, oh, I don't want to say anything. I think that to me is foolish and just doesn't make any sense at all to why she wouldn't say anything. I mean, it just, why not? It wasn't like she knew very much about Kang and who he was. Just that, I mean, I guess she did.
She knew a lot about Kang.
Why she did know Kang, and she was able to read his mind. But like, why not tell them about him? Because if anybody needs to know about it, it's them. And it's just like, she's not, and her character seems like she isn't someone to withhold information from her family. I mean, she loves her family enough, especially since they got married, or they kept secrets. I don't know. They kept secrets that they were Ant-Man and the Wasp back in the 80s or whatever. But like, to trust, what's his face?
Hank.
Her husband, Hank, you would think she'd tell him at least. And Hank was helping everyone with the quantum realm. So at least tell Hank. And then, I don't know. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
The way I look at it... Sorry, I've been getting off this cough. It's been horrible.
Oh, boy.
Is the analogy that I just was thinking about when I was when we were going over this is, it'd be like if we had the stove on, right? And we never told Axel that the stove gets hot. That's the kind of scenario that she's putting her family in, right? She's like not telling him, hey, this is what Kang, like, they're going into the battle. They're going into this whole world, not knowing a single thing about who Kang is, what he can do, the things that he's done, because now they're going to fight a battle that they, like, you're already in a losing battle.
Especially since you know that they can actually get into the quantum realm. And, like, why not tell them, don't go back there because there's a really bad guy that can't get out, and I made sure he can't get out. So just don't go, like, just say that.
Like, let's figure a way to get out.
We're not going to the quantum.
Let's find it. Let's find Scott and get out. Like, this is what he does. Oh, I just thought that was dumb because we spent the problem is we spent a lot of time with them traveling by themselves, right? Like, it was a long time where we're just like, just tell Hope, tell Hank, because worst comes to worst, you're in it. You're in the quantum realm. If you're gonna tell him, you gotta tell him now, so that way if old Kangzy comes out and he's like, hey, let's go to war, baby, like, at least they're prepared to know, like, hey, this guy can control you with his mind. He can shoot lasers. He can do all these things, and then you can prepare. I just felt that was dumb and really, I almost felt childish, dude.
There was so many things that just didn't make sense about in this movie, especially knowing that Avengers are able to, I mean, you think Avengers with the Hulk and the Ant-Man, they were able to make this quantum realm thing to
time traveling device.
Basically bring them time travel and with the equipment they had, with the technology they had, And then you look at Kang and the technology that he had there, and you're thinking, wait a minute, why he could just make a new one, just like
we'll jump into that. We'll jump into that. We're gonna get into that. I promise, because I felt the same way. I felt the same way. Okay, so I pushing up stuff. We're gonna still talk about Michelle Pfeiffer. First things first, she needs to get rid of her plastic surgery. Her lips look retarded in that movie. Oh my gosh, I could not get over that because she was just like her lips were like this the entire time, and I could not get past it.
She's just getting old.
She's getting old. But plastic surgery does that. So we go on this long goose chase where we're basically following Ant-Man. We're following the group of Ant-Man. We're following the group of Hank Pym, okay, and Hope Van Dyne, and Janet and stuff. And we come to find out that Michelle Pfeiffer, Janet, I'm just going to call her Janet, not Michelle Pfeiffer. Gosh. Janet and their group stumble upon this group of people, and this group of people in like this, it's like this herd of like a town almost, like they were just randomly in this big field basically, and they came up to her. She went up to these people. She's basically like, guys, I got this. And she tried to go like this all BA thing, and she goes up. This one guy jumps off his little horse thing, whatever it is, like flying sea dragon thing, and basically she does this one little move where she steals the knife and then comes in and stabs the guy, but the knife goes through her.
Cuts off his hand.
Yeah, cuts off his arm and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden she was like, oh, and does like this stupid chant. I thought that was the dumbest thing. Like, one thing that it showed me was that, okay, she was in there for a really long time. And she actually learned some sort of fighting skill, so I was expecting her to pull out her own suit and show us some of that stuff. But that was like our only real glimpse of how BA she actually was, because again, she was the Wasp. She was the first Wasp. So she would have been a BA at one point. But to see a little bit of it, it was cool. But I just thought it was dumb the way they introduced that. It was very random, very awkward. I wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah, it was just so obvious that was going to happen too, because you've seen this so many times in other movies where they're like, "Yeah, don't worry, I got this," and you see like this big bad guy, and then they walk up and they like fight, and they're like, "Ah, so good."
It's almost like Troy, where they're like bringing out the big muscle guy.
If you watch Ant-Man 1, that's literally the first scene where where Scott Lang is getting beaten up, and then he's like, "Man, you got the weirdest rituals," or whatever, you know, and it's just like, you've already done this. You literally already done this before. So we gotta get some new material going too, because it just seems like they're using something obviously from your previous script, and so it's just like, we need something new. This is Ant-Man 3, and you're setting up Kang. You're setting up this whole new series, and this is it's just another test to see that this was poorly written. This is just a whole nother thing that's just showing that they just didn't really think too much about it. They just decided, we'll just throw this in here. I think this would be a good idea. Nothing new, nothing original really coming out of that piece.
The only thing that was a benefit for it was that they got the stupid little the freaking stingray creature thing that they could fly around, and that was in the trailer and stuff like that. So
this is what I didn't like about it as well, is when they put on their little costumes to fit in, and they end up in the city.
Oh my.
It reminded me so much of Star Wars.
Exactly,
it was like Star Wars now? I was like, this is like, I don't understand. This is just kind of dumb kind of thing. And I get that we're in a whole new ecosystem, this whole new planet basically, with their own technology and everything like that. But like, you know, it's trying to make it a little bit less like Star Wars, because like it's like, what's her face? The Wasp. What's her face name? Oh gosh, I can't.
Janet or Hope Van Dyne.
Yeah, Hope. Hope is wearing like I'm looking at this picture right now. Here, let me show you my screen, and it's just like what this part right here, where
that's Star Wars.
This is
all the
totally
way.
Star Wars.
Yep.
That's totally Star Wars. It's just like originality, people, and that's my it's just
It's a like no, and I'm 100% on board with you. I agree with you. Even the little the canisters, they have. You know how Star Wars with the walls, they have their own little walls where they have the lights in the walls and they've got the lines.
Mhm.
The canisters had the exact same lines and the same
Yeah.
everything. It looked.
Yeah,
You
exact
could have
vibes.
cut that piece out and told me it was Star Wars, and I would have found out. Like I would have thought it was Star Wars, right? I could have thought that.
Right.
You could have thrown that scene in Obi-Wan, and I wouldn't have even questioned it. I'm serious. It was that bad.
I know, 100%.
So
100%.
I'm starting to actually kind of think
yeah.
my rating needs to go down a little bit after thinking about it. It's like some of the stuff is like it's really bad. It's like so bad, dude. But yeah, so they get to the city, and thanks for driving the point here. They get to the city, and then they go into this like secret little place where she basically opens the minds of Mordia with her hands, speak friend and enter type thing. She basically opens it up and opens this door, and then all of a sudden there's like this hidden bar in the back. And that's where we are introduced to Bill Murray as Lord Krylar. And we'll jump into that here in a moment, but we're going to jump to the opposing side at the same time. We're looking at Ant-Man and we're looking at Cassie Lang. Because when they're adventuring, when they're looking for Hope, they're looking for Hank, they're looking for Janet, they stumble upon these people and these creatures. Let's just say there's always a bigger fish. They get attacked by one thing, it gets eaten by another thing, and then they're saved by this group of mercenaries and people. Pretty much they take under captive from these people. They start running, get taken captive. I'm just going to say that this group of people, this whole like exhibition, this tribe, whatever they are, they were one of the best parts of this movie. They were one of the best parts, in my opinion. Yes, and we'll talk about it in a moment. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on these group of people, the everything about them. As you know, the goo, their Quaz. We're talking about Gentora. All of those.
Yeah, I mean, the only original part I think they got from this whole part is well, yeah, that I think was original was what's his face, the mind reader guy,
Quaz.
I think he was the only original guy in this whole part. I think everything else, Thor. They're kind of relating to Thor, as well as the drinking to understand people. I mean, you could go with other things. I mean, that's from other movies, but this is a whole Thor and Drax, right? That's his name.
Talking about Dave Bautista.
Yeah, Thor. I think that's who it is. Korg. My bad. Korg.
Oh, Korg. Yeah, definitely Korg vibes.
Yeah, definitely Korg vibes. They're trying to get that whole vibe with a whole community of people when Thor Ragnarok, I think, is more of what I'm thinking about, is when Thor is captivated and he has to make friends with these new people, and Korg and other guys are he's got to make friends with. So I got that kind of vibe, especially throughout the whole movie with this whole group. Especially Valkyrie is kind of the girl lady really reminded me of Valkyrie. So I mean, not as powerful.
She's not a god.
Yeah, She's not a god, no. And so that's
Did you think that was a good part of the, like, did you like that part, or was it like, were you so...
I like that part. I think that was the only part that I really did like with Cassie in it. But it didn't, because it didn't really show Cassie a whole lot. It was more of Scott trying to eat the the goo or whatever, the red goo. And I mean, it was funny. I think that was
the most Ant-Man part of the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
the most Ant-Man piece.
So yeah, I loved it. I think that was a good part. But like I said, I think there was still some parts that they just stole from, other
similarities between other movies. And I think that's where it gets back to me of the idea of that it might be a script issue, right? Because if we're introducing new characters, we can't have the same new characters, if that makes sense. 100%. So that's where I think it's a script issue, personally, and I think overall that plays. That's the most apparent piece. So, like, going through the movie, I was thinking about the same thing. I was like, man, personally, I was like, man, Korg and the slime guy, they would be hilarious together because they're basically the same person, just a different visual. But so we meet on these mercenaries. They give him this goo. It was a really, really funny scene. I thought it showed a lot of different stuff. Like, hey, there's an actual world underneath. And it's literally like between my fingers, this small little world, and people are actually living and eating and thriving like in between my fingers in this small quantum realm. And I think that's where it finally made me realize, like, hey, there's actually civilization. There's people who are trying to make a life in the quantum realm. My question is how did they get there? How did they get to the quantum realm? Because
these people,
because they never discussed that. Like, how did they get to the quantum realm?
They're just saying that. It's just, how did we get to Earth? That'd be the same question.
But the quantum realm is in the Earth. Like, it's right in between my fingers.
They're saying, they're saying.
My idea is
you can always get smaller and bigger. Like, it doesn't matter. You can always look smaller. Like, the quantum realm, they're saying, is the smallest, but you could probably get even smaller in the quantum realm, because you can see that with Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's the same thing with expansion. You can always get as big. You can always get bigger, because space is infinite, as well as smaller and bigger.
So do you think that there's a quantum realm right now with us?
That's a good question. I think for sure, because technically right now we're not touching anything. There's always a space between us. We're out,
even if
levitating, basically. Yeah, even if you're touching yourself.
Even if I'm touching.
We're all levitating, because you can keep looking closer and closer and closer at something, and you can always keep looking bigger and bigger and bigger at something. So yes, I think there is a quantum realm.
But in the world of the MCU, right? When we think of Ant-Man, when we think of Kang, right? Kang jumped from universe to universe. That's how he got to the quantum realm, and he got stuck, right? Just like when Ant-Man went small, he got stuck there, right? So there's a common
when he
got stuck there. Janet Van Dyne shrunk down, got stuck in the quantum realm. So there's people who are getting stuck in the quantum realm, but how did they get stuck there in the first place?
No, they're not getting stuck. I don't think that's what they're trying to say.
No, what I'm saying is that Ant-Man got stuck, Kang got stuck, Hope Van Dyne or Janet got stuck. Hope Van Dyne got stuck in the quantum realm. All of them got stuck in the quantum realm until they were released out of the quantum realm. So what I'm saying is, at the beginning, did these people get stuck in the quantum realm? Or were they born and raised in the quantum realm from quantum, like, creatures or something? Or how did they come about?
That's what.
And could those people come out of the quantum realm to Earth?
Yes, they could. They call them quantaniums or whatever. They call them that. they're quantum people, quantum life living in the quantum realm. So they were born and raised there, just like we were born and raised on Earth, or Kang was born, whatever. It's just getting out of the quantum realm because it is a shorter, that's the thing as well. You could say is like, okay, since you could shrink that small, can't you expand that big and become,
bigger than the Earth?
But you'd have bigger than the Earth. And so you could always look at, you could say that we're also in the quantum realm compared to somebody else. You can think of.
You just like to put quantum in front of things.
I do. It sounds so good, man. No, you can think of the movie. What is it? The Spec. What's the Spec? It's a Dr. Seuss movie.
Norton Hears Who.
Yeah, Horton Hears Who. And that whole thing is that, people lived on a speck. Like they have the whole ecosystem and a whole world and all that fun jazz. But then in the end, you could also look that Horton's actually living on a speck too. So it can just keep going further and further and further. The only thing we know though is that we live here. We don't necessarily
know if
there's anything else out there. Well, we had that discussion in the pre-show, man. We had that discussion.
Hey, check out the pre-show, boys.
Pre-show.
Check out the pre-show. I don't know. It might be a biblical thing. It might not be. Who knows? We'll see.
You never know, man.
So we and I appreciate your thoughts on that. That's just what I was thinking throughout the movie. I'm just like, how do they get there? What happens after that? Because now we're talking about like, we're not talking about just Earth anymore. We're talking about the universe and the world, right? And that's where it's really tough, especially as humans and us, to really quantify what beyond Earth, beyond our self, like what that looks like. You know what I mean?
To try to justify what that would look
like.
No, man, I thought about this very intensely. The quantum realm is very
the quantum physics of the astronomical quantumanium. It's been really, really, really good. Leave your comments down below what you guys think about that whole thing. I'm curious to know. So we meet these people. They eat the goo, and now they can hear this congregation, these people. And then we jump back to Janet, Hank, and Hope. They're at this bar. They go and they grab a drink. Hank makes this funny comment. Do you have anything that'll get me drunk? Because he's now in the quantum realm. He's never been there. He just is kind of spaced out. And then all of a sudden, this ship shows up outside of the bar. And then we are introduced to Bill Murray as, what's his name? Lord Krylar. This was really, in my opinion, a really dumb scene. We saw Bill Murray, Lord Krylar, for maybe 3 minutes. He makes a stupid comment. You could tell that Janet and Lord Krylar had a past, and I think probably a past that, maybe a little sexy time, a little time.
Well,
we do find that out later. But they have a previous relationship, and they were close at one point, and then and then he dies after 3 minutes. I really think they wasted a character, man. I think they wasted Bill Murray. I think you could have gotten anybody else to play that role, and they would have done fine. I think if you bring in a talent, I think they're literally just saying, hey, who can we bring into this movie that's old that we just can bring in, if that makes sense. Like, it'd be like with our Harrison Ford conversation the other day, right? With the last podcast. Check that out, by the way. We have a whole talk about Han Solo and Indiana Jones. It'd be like bringing
full on 2.5 hours.
it'd be like bringing in Harrison Ford and then killing him off 2 minutes later just to say, hey, Harrison Ford's in the movie. That's literally what happened. It was a waste. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Like, do you think, like, I wanted to know more backstory. Like, we get so little of what she did, the things that she did in the quantum realm. This was a perfect opportunity for them to talk about stories, about things that they did. And I think it's just wasted, man.
I don't necessarily think this is a waste. I think this is just what Bill Murray does. He is now just everybody loves Bill Murray, and to see him, it's just an excitement, and they're ready, like, oh wow, yeah, kind of thing. Just like you would get with Stan Lee. He played a number of different characters through, I mean, the MCU while he was living. Rip.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
And
Man, the man's a legend.
Mm-hmm. But with Bill Murray, I think this was a fitting. I think this was a character that didn't really matter that much, and he probably didn't want to stay in this character or a character for very long. He just wanted to be in it for a little bit, and I'm sure MCU was also like that. That hey, we'll put you in for a little bit here, and you don't have to worry about too much here. So I think this works out. I'm not too drawn away from it with this whole scene.
Ugh. I humbly disagree. But whatever.
I think the one thing I think the thing that is when the action, like the choreography of when they were fighting everyone, that got to me because it wasn't good. No. That whole scene of them fighting, and I also think, I mean, it wasn't the best, but also when Henry, was his name, right? That or Hank has to fly the ship, and he has to put his arms in these things, and that was good. That was really good. I would say that was funny and it was good, but the action with, you know, Hope and Janet, it wasn't that good. I think they could have done a lot better, and yeah. I mean, you also.
I just feel like it was a wasted opportunity for us to get to know Janet more, because I feel like by the end of the movie, I still barely knew Janet more than what she was, and I feel like that she spent 30 years with this guy. You know what I mean? Like, she spent 30 years being like, they were close,
right? So yeah, I mean, you get that,
but
obviously, because you're saying that.
What I'm saying is, I know that they were close, but I don't know any more about Janet than that. Like, no stories, no like, hey, dude, she conquered this, or did she do this? Like, they made her appear that she was going to be this BA, right? Like, when she goes to the scene where she goes and cuts the guy's arm off, stabs him, they make her seem like she was a BA. But that's about it. I just feel like it was a wasted opportunity. Personally, it doesn't. I'm always like, hey, how can we move the plot forward? What are we going to do to get to know these characters a little bit more? I didn't really feel that. That's my personal take. But besides the point, because we could go forever on that, and I know we could.
Yeah, we could.
But yes, you are right. I think so. Afterwards, they go to the bar. They do get into a fight. You'll see that Hank uses this accelerator thing where he makes the little thing bigger. I don't even know what it's called, like an octopus thing bigger. He makes it bigger and it kills Bill Murray, and then they fly off. I got real Star Wars vibes from that, by the way. A lot of like Stormtrooper vibes. They missed every freaking shot on Hope Van Dyne, and she was standing she was in the freaking open and she didn't even get hit. I was like, this is her chance. This is where she's going to get wounded and she's going to get weakened, and then Kang's going to snag her. Like, that's what I was hoping, because I was like, during this entire movie, I was like, someone's going to die. Someone's going to die. Someone's going to die. And so I was like, man, they didn't even hit her. Not one time. They missed her every time. Very Stormtrooper-esque, in my opinion.
Just a whole Star Wars theme in the city, dude.
Look,
just whole Star Wars.
And we love Star Wars, by the way. We're like, I've got a whole shelf of Star Wars. Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
Like, we're big Star Wars people.
Yeah, big Star Wars
guys. So
big Star
cheesy
Wars
shooting and missing on all of that. Like, we're cool with that. Like, yeah, big Star Wars guys.
But this isn't Star Wars.
Yes, exactly. That is my point exactly. I can go watch Mandalorian and then miss a shot on Mandalorian like 100 times and be okay with it because it's Star Wars. This is the MCU. Oh, that's BA. That is BA. Oh,
Yeah, dude. I'm just showing off everything now, dude. I'm showing off everything. You got me going.
in light of the Mandalorian coming out in what is it? T-minus next Wednesday.
Is that really?
Let me just reconfirm here.
All right, dude. I haven't really.
Season 3 come out. Yep, March 1st. Yep, next Wednesday, baby. In light of that, we've got a month until that happens. Freaking, I'm so excited. Pedro Pascal's, he's a baller, dude. He is a baller.
Freaking baller.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like we're big Star Wars people, but we can take it in Star Wars, right? Like you miss a bunch of shots and very weird, like quirky things. Like go ahead, that's fine. But this is MCU, right? Don't bring in Star Wars to MCU. I thought that did a very bad job. Next, we're gonna jump into kind of the big bad, because after those two scenes, we really start to jump into some we're gonna tread some waters here, okay? You got that stinking cat. Freaking hate cats, dude.
Sorry.
Oh
this thing
gosh,
is just meowing all over, man.
Oh,
she hears you.
Freaking
too.
go take it. Never mind. If your wife is watching, I don't want her to get pissed off.
No. Oh, she's probably
not. She doesn't. She doesn't support us, unfortunately.
No, never.
So we jump into the actual meat and potatoes of the story is actually finally at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The fear of Kang actually starts to come about. He sends out his minions, he sends out his troops, and he sends out his ships, and they are now chased. Hank, as well as Scott Lang, they all are approached by Kang's minions and stuff like that. Specifically with Scott and Cassie, they were attacked by Kang's minions. And this is where we see a lot of like character development between Cassie and Lang, in my opinion, and we'll discuss that here. But they're blown up. The whole like exhibition that they were in, the town that they were in, the whatever, the convoy, they're now attacked, and so a big war goes on. But we see a little bit of an awkwardness between Cassie and Scott. We see that finally she reveals that she's got her suit. She reveals that she is trying to take up the reins of Ant-Man, and we see the first time that she ever shrinks down and becomes Ant-Man. I'm curious, as we go through this, right, because we see her ability to kind of suck in it, right? Like she's not very good with her suit. We see that. Yeah. And we see throughout the movie, she does get a little bit better as she goes. And at the end, she grows big. There's a funny scene with that at the end, in my opinion. But do you think this was more a movie? Because I thought once this happened, is this a movie for her? Is this a movie for Kang? Is this a movie for Ant-Man? Because we're learning like she doesn't really know her father all too much, even though like I don't know how many years has passed because he's wrote this book, he sold this book, She hasn't really worked with him on anything. She's hiding things from him. And this is where I finally start to realize this is a movie for her development. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And I just feel... No, I'll just let you answer there because...
I think for me, that's a good question because like... For me, I'm thinking this whole movie isn't necessarily about the Ant-Man or anything. It's to set up the next phase of Marvel. And I think it has two parts. It's setting up the new Ant-Man and but it's also setting up Kang, which we see in the end credits that there's multiple multiple Kangs, and that's going to be the biggest threat, is that they're fighting multiple Kangs. But I still have problems with what happened in this movie with the Kang the Conqueror that they had, and so like, yeah, I think it's mostly just about Kang. I don't think it's about the ant or his daughter Cassie. I think this is mostly about Kang and setting that up, but they're also setting up the new Ant-Man, getting the new Avengers to assemble. So I don't think it's about her.
I just felt like as they go through this scene, like jump punch. That's all you got to do. Jump punch. Like throughout that time, I'm just thinking to myself, like what are we actually like? These are. I thought this throughout this pretty much this entire movie, this group of people, they're a bunch of freaking broken people, man. Hope Van Dyne doesn't even talk to her husband about the quantum realm. Cassie and Scott, sure, they're close, father and that's your father and that's your daughter, but like you clearly see that they have not been. Like, they're not honest with each other. They're not talking to each other about things. They're not learning about each other, right? Because if they did, Scott would have already taught her that. Scott would have already, like, said, hey, this is what you can do with your suit, right? Because she already had the suit beforehand, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't. You see that from the beginning that Scott and his daughter don't have the
That's
best
what I'm
relation,
saying. That's why I'm harping on it. Is I feel like this is just a movie that's built on and this is where the script comes into play. This is the reason why I'm saying this, is that like a lot of this stuff isn't well thought out. Does that make sense? Like you're just throwing that in there. So. Like what? Like you don't just throw that in there. Like this.
Yeah.
I don't think it was well thought out. I think it was lazy writing with that. Like and it comes down to the Kang at the end when we find out, how the ending happens. Like this is Kang versus Ant-Man. Like the next Thanos level villain, and Hulk couldn't beat Thanos.
Right.
That's where I'm
that's
confused.
Exactly
I'm confused on like the direction of where they're going.
Are we getting into this?
We're gonna get into this. This is where I'm just getting
right now.
Yeah, we can. Let's do it. Okay. Let's do it. So let's jump into some Kang, because here's the problem with this movie is that we don't know the direction of where they're going, right? They bring up Kang, they talk about Cassie, they talk about all these characters, but it's so like straight to the point. Like there's an ending to it. Like you learn nothing about a lot of this stuff, which actually, you know what? I'm going to pause here. I'm dropping my freaking rating from what did I say? A 4.5?
3. You said like 3.5.
Did I say 3.5?
I said, yeah. I was
going to say a 3. I'm changing it to a 3. Like I'm having some tough times with this movie because the problem is this movie it's good and entertaining. Okay. It's entertaining. Sure. But as I'm thinking about each character and the development of each character, it's just not well thought out, right? Like, why are we going to pause in the middle of a fight scene to tell Cassie how to jump punch? She's had her suit long enough. She knows how to do that. There shouldn't be any question. She went to jail for stopping somebody in the middle of whatever. She stopped a car, I think, or something like that, or someone was getting robbed or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. But she beat up some bad guy or something. I don't know. Yeah. But she should know all that already, right? Like,
well, she should. Well, I
just think it wasn't.
It's a new suit. I get that.
Gosh darn it, man! I really wanted to go into this like really liking. I really like this movie, but now thinking about everything that's happened, it's like I could have wrote that a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing with Kang, and I want to get
Let's
into
jump to
Kang
King.
too.
That's
and
on my bad. We
'cause-
were talking about something that had
yeah,
nothing
it's
to do
okay,
with it.
dude.
Go ahead.
Kang, we are shown a picture through not only previously with Loki on how powerful Kang is, but through Janet of how powerful Kang is. I mean, Kang the Conqueror, and how powerful he is the worst of all the Kangs, and he is the outcast that from the Kangs, and we don't necessarily know if there are good, the other Kangs are good or whatever, but he's an outcast from all the other Kangs, so he's got to be just downright horrible and evil, and as well as he was conquering planets and killing people. And we get into Kang, and you see somewhat of his powers when he's fighting the mercenaries, or the whatever they're called, the rebels. And he's got like these he's got like these laser beams and just killing everybody, and you're like, okay, yeah, sweet. But the way he dies is ridiculous, and I want to talk about just how stupid it is that he literally just put up a force field against these ants that he could have just gone the whole time. It didn't seem like he put up a fight at all. And like, we're being told as well by Marvel that Kang is a threat, an Avenger threat level, like higher than, Thanos. And then he is defeated by Scott Lang. One of the, no offense to Ant-Man, I know he's powerful, but he's probably the least powerful Avenger out of all of them. And so it's just
he's
like
a pansy.
He's not the. He's important.
He's no Thor.
Like we said, he's
no
important.
Iron Man.
He's no Thor. We're told as well that he's killed a lot of the Avengers in different time settings, in different time streams, or whatever you call
many
them.
times. He's killed the Avengers many times.
Many times. Yes, and he's like, "Oh, what one of you?
Have I killed you before?"
And it's just like, oh gosh. And then this is how he dies, is through ants basically crawling on him, and it's just like, there's no way. This is just you could have done. I don't know. I think that's just lies the problem. I think they should have. I don't know how they could have gone better, or
I think that they killed
where they could.
This is where my argument comes into play. I think in the beginning of or the trailers, I thought they were going to kill somebody. Kang he is a Thanos level, Avenger level threat. He should have killed somebody in this movie. I think Scott, personally, and this is my opinion, I love Paul Rudd.
No,
I love Hope Van Dyne. I love the person who plays them. But I think either Hank, Janet, Hope, or Scott should have died in this movie. One of them. One of them.
At least.
Sacrificing themselves to let the other people go. Because this is the Thanos level threat. This is the Avengers level threat. He got beat up by a freaking man.
He got beat up. Yeah, not even like, and it's just like, there's no way.
There's no way.
Like at the end, I thought when they were going back to their realm, that is when Scott was gonna die, when he came back, and he's like, oh, I gotta do. He sacrificed himself, but I don't know, that whole just doesn't make sense. You're really throwing him below what you've been saying that he is this whole time. And it's just so sad.
Not caveat, but let's change a little bit of what we're saying is Jonathan Majors Jonathan Majors, the person who played King, he did it fantastic. Him acting as King, he did a great job. But the writing freaking sucks. The directing, he personally he showed the entire like MCU who he is, and he's like, if they fix the freaking writing in the next movies, he's going to be a very dangerous character, and he's going to be very feared.
Mhm.
But they did not write him very well. Like,
No, I'm a huge Jonathan Majors, and I think he's a great
Fantastic.
actor. I think he's and they just really they didn't emphasize here. They could have used him a lot better, and in this whole scenario, just bombed. They just bombed it. They ruined the movie with just a great cast, except for Cassie, and they could have done so much, but the writing was bad, and it's just I think we've emphasized it a lot, but I mean each point and point and point we go back to throughout this
it's a
whole
weak script, man.
movie is just the story, and it's bad. I mean, besides Cassie, the bad actor, that's just the bad. It's just
That's about it.
bad writing, and that's I think that we've emphasized that
a lot.
a lot.
You know what I wanted to
Like,
feel
every
at the end of this movie is we introduce the most dangerous villain we have ever seen on TV, right? In the MCU history, we see the most dangerous villain. I want to feel what I felt in Avengers Infinity War when Thanos snaps
Right.
and people start to fade away, and what is it called? Disappear. Not disappear. What is it? They get snapped. What the frick is it called?
They get
They get blipped. Spider-Man, No Way Home. Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Yeah.
They get blipped. They get snapped into, and I think personally, when they snapped, I was like, they're dead. They're gone. They're gone forever. Like, when I saw Black
Right.
Panther get removed, I was like, holy crap. When I saw Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, like, I wanted to feel that level of threat. You know,
of a
like,
threat.
each movie, you just never know who's going to get killed, who's going to get removed, right? And that's what I was feeling going through this is we're going to introduce this guy, and going and watching and reading more about him. He's dangerous. He's not somebody you mess with. And we bring it to the cinema, and I was just very, very, what's the word? Unmotivated, really moving forward. Because I'm just thinking to myself, if they're not going to kill Ant-Man, like, who are they going to kill? You know, like, Ant-Man would have been the easiest one, in my opinion. That first level, like, hey, crap's getting serious. And then I feel like they wasted an opportunity, personally. I feel like Paul Rudd's getting a little older. He didn't look very good in this movie, personally. Didn't really sell me on a guy who could be an Avenger, personally. So I don't know. He's getting a little bit older. I think it would have been a perfect time to get rid of him. He had 3 movies. This was his 3rd movie. Perfect opportunity. Sorry, I'm cleaning up my desk, or cleaning off my page thing here. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. A couple other ones that I want to discuss. A couple characters, and then we will go into some other thoughts here in a moment. But come to find out throughout the movie is that a little old friend pops up from the past, from the freaking past, and not in the same size or the same look as he did before. We get MODOK. Coming back to the screen, we've got Darren. What's his name? Where is he at? His name's Darren in the show. Gosh. Screw it. His name's Darren, and he comes out, and he's now MODOK in the movie. Darren was from episode or Ant-Man 1, where he is he is creating his own suit. They fight at the train in Cassie's room, and as he gets destroyed into the quantum realm. Come to find out, he's still alive. His head was not shrunk as much as his legs and his arms were. And come to find out, King created like a little suit for him to be the most dangerous weapon. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, on MODOK.
I think it was funny. I didn't have like a fear of him. I think they could have done a lot better with making him better, like as a weapon, because you're told that he's like the most dangerous weapon, that he's just a killing machine and nobody can take him down, or whatever. And you don't get that.
The
feeling.
mechanized organism designed only for killing.
Yeah. And that just didn't fit well, especially the CGI with it was just poorly done. You just feel like it's just his face is squished in there. You don't feel like it, like any depth that was there. I think they could have done better with the depth with his nose and his face, but
yeah, it was stretched.
I think it was, I thought it was. Yeah, I think it was hilarious, though, the way they had him and the way they reacted to him, because not even the characters were very afraid of him, and they just didn't seem that too, like, shocked or even, faint about this new guy and this character that's supposed to be a killing machine.
I echo everything you're saying, but when he has his mask on, though, he is a beast. He looks pretty dang cool. I was going to show this here really quick, actually, because we didn't. I don't know if did we see that in the trailer. I think we did. I think we did see that in the trailer.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I'm just going to show it here. So this is what he looks like when he's got his mask on. When he's got his mask and then he's got his little arms. I thought that looked pretty cool. But overall, I mean, he is supposed to be a dorky character, I think. And I don't think that he's ever really taken seriously. Like, look at that. I am MODOK. He's sitting in a big old chair. Captain America's on the floor. But, yeah, I think the CGI didn't do a very good job on that. But I thought it was funny, though. I think it was pretty funny. The way he died was kind of funny.
I thought it was funny.
He's like...
Yeah, I thought that was great.
He goes and chases Cassie, and they come to a ledge, and what did he say? I don't remember what he asked her, but something like, how do I be better, or something like that. And she's like, you could start by stop being a dick. And then at the end...
And then he goes, I am not a dick.
And he basically saves Ant-Man by attacking Kang and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, overall, I do think that, I mean, he was okay. I mean, he wasn't bad. I think he was enjoyable to watch, personally. But teaches their own on that.
Yeah.
The one character I really was kind of I really want to talk about, because he was a very unique character, and I hope he comes back at some point, is Quaz. There was a lot of rumors with Quaz and the character. Let me pull up who plays the guy again.
William Jackson Harper.
There was a rumor that, because his character was actually not revealed. I think they were trying to hide it or something like that. Is that there was a fan theory that he was going to be Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four. Come to find out, he was not Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four, but he was Quaz. We haven't ever had a telepath like that, where they could figure out the truth. And I think personally, I really liked the actor himself. I think he did a really good job. I think they bring him back. They bring him back. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. I think he does a great job. He's lovable, great actor. I forget what TV show.
Oh, he did a really good one. Oh my gosh.
Can't think about it. What is his name?
I'm looking it up right now.
But
the frick was it called?
He does.
He did The Good Place.
He does a really good.
He was on Midsommar.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. The Good Place. That's where I've seen him, and I loved him in that. He did a great job, and I think you keep him with that as well. I mean, you gotta. I mean, with him, Jonathan Major. I mean, those guys right there are top-notch actors. But then I mean, one villain, and then this guy's kind of more of not even like a main character that's coming. Quaz is more of just like this kind of side character.
Yeah.
I feel like in the MCU, but the things now we're trying to look forward to is this new Avenger group, and it's just these kids that aren't even, they're not top-notch actors like Cassie Lang and Catherine Newton, and it's, I don't know, that's where I'm having difficulties with this whole thing. It's just their choice of actors for this
Young Avengers moving forward.
Upcoming new Young Avengers that are supposed to be, top notch, and it's just we got to be better there.
I think the one thing that Marvel always does really good at, and they kind of sucked out with Catherine Newton, is they bring in really good actors normally. She didn't do a very good job, in my opinion. She doesn't really sell it to me. Maybe the next one she'll be all right. Whatever she's in. Quaz is really good. Yeah. But all in all, I think overall, in the end of the movie, is Ant-Man basically beats up Kang and destroys Kang, and he goes back to normal. And that's he goes back to like normal living, and nothing really is affected. Yeah. That's where the ending, it really hit me. I hate the fact that he just was able to kill him. Again, I wish that they would have killed him off or something. They were setting it up, dude. They were freaking setting it up, man. It was just him and Kang, and I thought Kang was going to kill him. And I was like, that would have been the ending I would have asked for. Right? Because then now, Hope and Cassie.
That would have been it. That would have been a good ending right there.
There's actually something to fight for. Now, hey, I just beat freaking Kang. Guess what? We can all beat Kang now. We can all beat King. Ant-Man doesn't have steroids
don't worry
or anything
about
like
it,
Captain America did, but he could just freaking beat up some god who can just
beat up a king.
Like, that was so dumb.
King, all he had was his. Yeah,
but
I agreed.
Overall,
he couldn't.
Go ahead. Yeah. You're good.
Well, like King, he like during that fight scene, he loses all of his equipment, his technology stuff. But you could, he's like one of the smartest people in the entire universe. So you would think he could make some type of potion or something that would make him more, his body, peak physical form. And nope, he's just a normal guy.
He's a normal guy fighting a freaking Ant-Man. Freaking gets wrecked by Ant-Man and the Wasp. So stupid.
So dumb.
But yeah, so that's the movie. I think overall, and again, look, go watch it for yourself. You have all your own opinions, right? Like, if you've gotten to this point and you've watched the podcast and you haven't seen it, like, go watch it, make your own adjustments or make your own thoughts. If you have seen it and you've gotten to this point, we want to know what your thoughts are below. We're going to jump into the end credits because they're a little bit different than the actual movie. We get a little bit of a spoiler for Loki, and then we get a little bit of a callback to the comics in the other one. So first and foremost, Loki, freaking amazing season, great TV show. I give it a 5 out of 5. It's probably one of the best Marvel shows that they came out with, in my opinion. I'm curious, what's your rating? How do you think that end credit scene plays moving forward?
It's going to be. I hope that this is another way of them setting themselves up. They've had multiple. This is another chance, I guess, for them to set themselves up for Kang and then this next series. So I think. I loved Loki season 1, and I'm really excited about season 2 now. But I think Loki season 1, I give it a 4 point. 4.7. It was kind of slow at the beginning, but once you got more into it, it got good. It got real good. So yeah, loved it, and I'm excited for the new Loki
freaking
2.
excited. Yeah, so that's the first mid credit scene. One of the things I wanted to at least throw out there is I thought this was going to be about Fantastic Four when it first popped up, because it popped up a sign in the
I
sign.
did hear you say Fantastic
It
Four.
popped up a sign that said Victor, and I was thinking to myself, Victor Von Doom, Fantastic Four. And then come to find out it was Loki, so I was a little heartbroken there. We'll talk about Fantastic Four here in a moment, because I think that's a big part moving forward. And then we go, then the second end credit scene, we see all of the variants of Kang. We see Kim Ramatat. That's the variant of Kang. Pharaoh Ramatat, where he's like an Egyptian. We see the Scarlet Centurion. We see Mortis. I don't know if you've read the comics. I've read a little bit of them, and I've been watching a lot of videos on Kang and his backstory. But those guys are the guys. Like those are the guys of Kang. So I'm curious, you not knowing anything about like the comics all too much, or having a little limited knowledge, how excited were you to see that? Did that play a role if you didn't know anything about the comics?
About the new Kang,
Yeah.
all the Kangs and all that stuff. I think, I don't know. I guess it doesn't play too much of a role. I don't know too much of understanding what was going on. So for me, I'm more skeptical, especially after watching that Kang, of what these other Kangs are capable of. Because I mean, like I said, this Kang that was the outcast of all these Kangs, and so I'm assuming that these Kangs are not as powerful, or as not as.
So you think that these Kangs are?
I mean, I'm
based off of what the story gave us, because again, the writing was bad. It told us that was the best Kang that was out there, the conqueror, the guy. He was the outcast. All of the other ones were less.
Well, he wasn't necessarily.
Or did you?
I guess. I mean, all the Kings joining together would be more powerful than him, but individually, no, he was going around killing other Kangs. So I would understand that. Why that wouldn't happen, but still at the same time, it's just like, okay, I just need Ant-Man to kill all these guys, basically.
Let's go one by one.
One by one. And so it's just like, I with Ant-Man, it just didn't set it up well enough for me, man. So I wasn't fully on board with it and what's going to happen next. Just not what I was looking for.
Well, disagree, but whatever. That's okay.
Well, what did you think?
And here's the thing: is from your perspective, because I've read some of the comics, right? Like I've read like how dangerous some of these guys can be, and the callbacks to it. It's like, okay, these are some bad dudes. Like, what did we miss from our King? Like, being that he killed other Kangs, what did we miss from him that these other guys like feared? You know what I mean? And that's where I think it kind of downgraded our King. But besides the point, go back and Go ahead. Oh, yeah.
I was just gonna ask, like, do you think that they're changing up from the comics? Because that I feel like is going to be their downfall, because if they move away from the comics, I think no one's gonna want to watch this. They're down MCU. I think. Marvel Infinity Wars has been their peak. They have they're falling down right now. There's nothing that's keeping them really up a whole lot. Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, but this is not what people want. I've not seen very positive reviews on this whole thing, or even the past few movies that have came out since Infinity Wars. And so what is going to take for them to get back on the board, because back on the horse, basically, because they're not doing anything well, it seems like, with their choice of actors, the writing, and just in general of where they're going with it.
I honestly, I think it goes back to my statement earlier of we need a Infinity War moment of holy crap, we've seen our Avengers go up and up and up and up and up, right? Defeat Loki in Avengers 1. We've seen Age of Ultron beat Ultron. Like, we've seen them beat all these people, all of these things. Now we've had our first downfall. I'm ready for a downfall. I'm ready for one of those, right? Like, I'm ready for our Avengers, our superheroes to get into trouble, not win, and then recoup, and then win later. That's what I think I'm waiting for, and I think that's what they're gonna. They have to do it at some point.
I feel like this is what they need to do. They need to make Kang kill off all the Avengers, straight up. Kill off all the Avengers. And that is when this is when their children come and start the new Avengers. They need to make a movie. They should have done this in this past one where Kang killed Ant-Man, but they didn't. But then they should have done that right there. Then in this next Guardian of the Galaxy one, Kang needed to kill those guys. Well, I guess,
I don't think that plays a role.
I don't think it matters too much with them, but even Thor needs to die. That's going to be a hard thing for people to come to grips with, but it's going to get people hooked, because now this guy is coming in, killing off all the Avengers. How is this going to end? How is this going? Like, what are we going to do? So I think they should have done that, and that would have started a great way for them to start up a new era of Marvels, of Avengers.
And you're absolutely. I think we're all on the same page here. Is that somebody should have died? Whoever it was, somebody should have. They bring in Thor, kill off Thor.
100%.
Something. We see them kill someone that we care about a lot. Because after this movie, we don't see. We have no fear of Kang. Even though, like,
none.
He's
none at all.
He's not in our world, but we have no fear of him killing anybody at this point. Nothing.
Right.
So that's where I think I'd agree with you. I think the direction has to be that way. What is that? I think if they bring in an Infinity War ending of, because I remember going out of the movie theater of Infinity War. I went premiere night and seeing all of them die and lose, and that's how they end the movie. Like, I'm ready for more. Like, I was about to cry because I was like, holy crap. Like, everybody's gone.
And people love Ant-Man. People love Thor. And to show that, I mean, I think you do it movie by movie, though, and not in just one entire movie. You go each movie. So the next Thor movie, you kill off Thor. And then this Ant-Man movie, you kill off Ant-Man. And who else? Hawkeye and
Hawkeye's an easy
all
one.
these.
I think you can kill Hawkeye pretty quickly.
Well,
actually, I don't know, because Ant-Man friggin' took him to the test here. But I agree with you. I think
but like,
if he says that he's killed somebody, or if he's killed the Avengers, show us a little snippet. They need to come out with an extended version, and then put in probably like 20 minutes of context, more information, more threat, because we don't feel any of that personally.
Yeah.
Before we get on another tangent, because this is going to be this is already a 2.5 hour episode, technically a 2 hour because our 30-minute pre-show. I am very pissed off that they didn't introduce Fantastic Four in this freaking movie. Not one time. Not one time, dude. I was so pissed because Reed Richards, his father is Kang the Conqueror, a.k.a. Nathaniel Reed. Or Richards. Nathaniel Richards. So the fact that they didn't introduce him, introduce the Fantastic Four, pissed me off because I've spent so much time reading into the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, all of that freaking crap. Victor Von Doom, I've been reading all this stuff, and yeah, I was.
You were
so
ready, dude.
Ready,
you were like,
dude.
yes, I know everything.
I was so ready. I bought all those books. I bought 6 books, man. Bought 6 books and I read it. Oh, I was so pissed. So they've got to at least moving forward. They got to bring in Fantastic Four. Obviously, they're going to make the movie. The movie comes out in 2025. Come to find out, it comes in 2025, which is ridiculous. Do
we know anything?
We don't know who's acting in it. We don't know anything. So it comes out in 2025. It's going to be directed by Matt Shakman, it looks like. But other than that, we know nothing about this. And the problem is that Reed Richards plays a huge role moving forward. We introduced Kang, his father. I'm pissed. So I'm pissed. That's my Fantastic Four little upset there. But yeah, so that's our review over Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Sorry for it being so long. I appreciate you, Regan. I know that you're so tired and you're so young and so old.
I'm not tired. I just I don't think a whole lot of people are going to listen to it for this long.
They might not, but if you did, thank you. Yeah. The last little bit here, and then we'll send it off here, is our local pickups. Our local pickups. I know Regan's got a couple. I've got a couple, but they're not necessarily pickups. But I'll go first, knock it out, because I just have a couple. I was going through my closet, and I found a bunch of stuff that I forgot I had in college. This was from my room back in college.
You got those in college?
Yep. So I got these back in college. So a couple of them, couple comics here. Freaking Iron Man versus Hulk. Freaking beast. I thought that was awesome. We're getting into the Mighty Thor. Freaking awesome there. Friggin' Spider-Man and Hawkeye. I thought that was pretty freaking sweet, dude. That was so freaking sweet. Oh, man.
So good.
And then the last one, which I think in my opinion, looks the coolest, was this one.
Agreed.
It's freaking Spider-Man, dude. But yeah, I found those in the closet. It had been lost for a really long. I didn't even know that they were in there, to be honest with you. I don't really have any local pickups this week, but that's what I got. So, Regan got a lot of stuff this week. Go ahead, Regan. Show us what you got.
I didn't really get a whole lot of stuff this week. I got gifted a lot of stuff. I showed you guys at the beginning.
My things.
I
freaking got you.
Yeah, what you got me. Yeah, I didn't really get anything. I did want to show you guys. I mean, do you think I should show?
Freaking show them, man. Freaking show them,
dude. I don't even know what to show them. I don't know what to show them. I don't think I have them ready though. Maybe next week. I do want to show you because we do get some fan stuff that I want to show you guys that were sent in. So if you guys do have some local pickup stuff, send it to our email. It's at the Goof and Goober Show at Gmail. We check that frequently, and we want to see what you guys. But I put a little slideshow for you guys about some local pickups from our fans. So here's a little. Oh wait, I gotta go live with this. So this is a little Punisher, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider here. Really great. Then we got, I don't know what this one is. It should have it on the bottom here if it goes. Little Black Panther. Archangel 8. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And then I really like this last one with this black cat with the Infinity Gauntlet in her hand. Yeah. And
whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Jeez. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, don't worry. I cut that part
Appreciate
out.
it.
Don't you worry. I got you. Dude.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we appreciate you guys. If you guys stuck around this long, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know down below if you made it this far. And then leave me with your top two anticipated movies of 2023. By the way, I want to know. And then also throw in, did you like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Give me your score below. But yeah, so that's our review. Check us down on Instagram, on Spotify. If you're on Twitch or anything like that, Jared, wink, wink, on YouTube there. You can check us out on Spotify. You can check us out on twitch.tv/The Goof and Goober. And you can also go to YouTube and type in youtube.com/The Goof and Goober Show.
Goof and Goober.
It's been a pleasure being with you boys, ladies and gentlemen. But we've got to go to bed. It is freaking late. We are old men. Sort of. Kind of. Regan's old. Before we get going here, I wanted
30 years old.
Give Regan a little bit of a something here. A little bit from the fans.
Oh, gosh.
I wanted to sing him happy birthday on stream. And so, if we'll all come together and join in. 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy pre-birthday to Regan. Happy birthday to you. In 1 hour and 20 minutes, because we're filming this at 10:40 p.m. the night before his birthday, he will turn a good old 30 years old. He is now officially middle-aged. You middle-aged boy. You middle-aged boy. But anyway, thanks, guys, for coming out today. You've just witnessed the Goof and Goober Show. You decide who's the goof, who is the goober. Peace. Have a good night.
Peace.
Dab, 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 dab. Film the intro.
It's supposed to be
Film
loaded
the
right now,
outro.
but
Go to the outro. Good job.
I'm trying to.
Come on. Regan?
It's not
Regan,
going live.
You got to do the outro, buddy.
I am trying to, but it's not going live.
Go to the outro.
It will go preview, but it won't go live right now.
Go to the outro. Come on, man. Go to the outro. We'll put that in post.
We'll put that in post.
All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.